Hello and welcome to your Astrology 102 course. This is going to be the course on the moon. Very excited to have you here. Thank you for allowing this space. Thank you for being here to hear this out. I've been studying astrology now for about 10 years, on and off, very seriously within the last 3. So I have a certain viewpoint on the planets, how they work, how they interact with us energetically, and etc. So there's going to be some things that I say in here that you may not find many other places because this is through my lens and my interpretation. But I think this interpretation will be able to help those who are trying to learn more be able to connect and on a different wave at a different frequency to really know what this is about. You get where I'm coming from? So without further ado, let me introduce our star of the show, the moon. So, the moon in astrology is one of the most critical aspects when it comes to astrology. It is the energy signature of your soul. It's how you absorb emotions. It's where your intuition stems from. And it is the energy signature that allows you to connect to the world as a whole. It's the vehicle of your inner world. Ever have a premonition that you just felt to be true, had no reasoning behind it? That is the strength of your moon sign. It's what fills the gaps in between. Now, let's get some background about the moon. The maiden of mysteries, as they say. So, the moon is associated with so many different old stories and folklore, different deities and energies and etc. So if you want to tap into the moon at a very core level, I would say tap into some folklore or even look into the goddesses such as Isis, Selene, Artemis, Ishtar, Nyx, whatever sticks out to you. These energies of the moon are going to essentially be able to tell you what the moon's role played in ancient cultures, giving you a better understanding of how the moon actually plays out, even in modern times, right? So what we also know about the moon is a satellite to the earth, right? A big thing that scientists have always said, and that, they try to prove stuff, but essentially the moon's origins is unknown. A lot of this things outside of us are unknown. I'm sure that you can find someone who's probably mapped it out, and they could be right, but we can't 100% pinpoint what the origins of the moon really is. As part of the mystery of the moon, the intuitive nature of the moon is the unseen. You get where I'm coming from? So what we do know for certain, the moon does control the tides, right? It has visible changes in the sky in every phase that it's in. When the new moon's out, you can't see it. The sky is dark. When the moon starts to wax, you begin to see the moon becoming its half moon and then becoming the full moon and then etc. So there's visible changes in the phases. And for astrology, the moon sign changes every 2.5 days. So that's something really critical to know about when it comes to the moon. Now, the full moon is recognized in all cultures, or the moon in general. There's no culture or story that doesn't have something centered around the moon. Goes to show how important the moon is in connection to just human culture in general. Now, what does the moon contribute to? So the origins of Monday, the day Monday is actually the day of the week that's ruled by the moon. It's one thing that people don't necessarily always know about, so if you're born on a Monday, you might have characteristics of someone who might be maybe Cancer ruled by their placements, or they have a prominent moon placement within their chart, right? Now, next part, the moon represents this true aspect of the divine feminine principle. It is the planet that allows you, or the luminary that allows you to receive information, to receive intuitions. It's the whole idea behind the receptiveness of mystery into what we consider our emotions, right? It's like the mystery of our emotions is really represented by this moon. Rules of sign of Cancer, like I said. Emotional receptivity and emotional intelligence is definitely run through and pushed through by the moon sign as well. Another thing that the moon also ends up showing you is people that you may have soul links and soul ties to. For example, if you have the same moon sign as someone, you're going to be within the same like tribe, so to speak. You're going to have a very deep connection with them just due to you being of the same moon sign, of the same moon frequency signature. It allows an emotional connectivity and receptivity that is of the same signature. You don't have to reach out and do anything too much. It's just right there. So that's one of those things to point out when it comes to the moon's contributions. Now, the moon phases. The moon phases are featuring the new moon, the first quarter moon, half moon, full moon, third quarter, square, third quarter moon, and then the last quarter, the waning moon, right? So all the moon phases represent different fluctuations of energy, right? Of how the earth receives even the moon's energy, etc., etc. So the new moon, for example, let's say that like the biggest thing that I need to point out for the most part is a new moon and a full moon, because the new moon is the moon that's known for manifestations. It's known for new beginnings. It's known for opening new chapters and such like that, right? So that's what the new moon is essentially entailing. However, the full moon is when it's for releasing. Full moon is about releasing. Full moon is about the completion and the opening up of whatever was originally worked on and manifested through the new moon phase, right? Full moons, there's also, like I said, super moons. So there's super moons sometimes, which are just like full moons times however much, because they just have more of an impact. So that's a really strong time for certain releases. Depends on the timing, depends on who you are. My biggest thing is if you are a Cancer placement, learn the moon sign, learn about your moon, because that's going to completely help you out throughout everything else. So the other moon phases I just want to point out very briefly are the eclipses. So there's the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Where we're at right now is we're in the middle of eclipse season. So there was a lunar eclipse that started it off. Then there was a solar eclipse that just happened recently with the summer solstice and that new moon phase. And now we're heading into another lunar eclipse in between by the time you're probably hearing this, which is going to be another inclination. So pretty much it's like a mega, I just put down mega new moon, mega full moon just for like just energetic purposes as to how powerful these are. These aren't energy time frames that you can necessarily control, because the eclipses bring to you the things that you need to adjust in your life, and the messages will always come through kind of clear. Like you'll have an inner knowing of what you need to do next when it comes to these eclipse time frames, but I'll break that down in a different video. So moving on. We have the tarot associations with the moon. So the two that most resonate and stick out are the High Priestess as well as the Moon card, obviously. But with the High Priestess, what the High Priestess represents is like hidden realms. It represents the inner within, like I said, the divine feminine principle. It represents the receptivity of intuition, the receptivity of knowledge, intuitions, inclinations, etc. You getting a vibe here from this moon stuff yet? In the actual moon card, it's going to be about things that you can't necessarily see yet. It's going to be about not necessarily directly illusions, but about the dreams. It's a very kind of an elusive state that's coming through with the moon. You might not be seeing something that needs to later on be revealed, that needs to come through and be shown. These are the type of tarot associations that are tied in with the moon. So just wanted to give you another thing of that. I want to look deeper into those. Feel free. And the next thing that I'm going to go to after this tarot is the chakra that the moon is associated with. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to say different things for the chakras. This is my study. This is what I've come to understand. And this is what I've personally use and utilize when I talk about these things. So the third eye chakra is the chakra that's most responding to the moon, right? If anything, if you want to think about it physiologically, your moon sign energy would be held within your third eye space, within that gland. So holding the moon sign in this space, this is how you receive different information. This is how you receive your insight through this receptivity. And then that's how you end up moving that through with your emotions, working through with Venus, working through the heart in order to actually bring visions out into life. But that's a different video. But what I'm saying is this is going to be more so for the third eye and how it brings in intuition. So third eye is a resonance, which the moon works directly with, right? Now, the moon in astrology. Let's talk about it. So, the moon in astrology, like I mentioned before, is receptivity. It's your soul. It is your connection to your soul tribe, the energies around it. It is also representative of the mother as well. Nurturing energies, how you were nurtured, what nurtures you, how do you feel when you need emotional support, when you need emotional comfort, what do you go to, what do you do, what is the best thing for you to do in order for you to cope with your emotions, in order for you to understand the inclinations and the things that you might feel. And I want to let you know right now, we are living in some very interesting friggin' times. We're literally at the beginning of a new age. We're pretty much branching right into the real age of Aquarius, coming through within the next X amount of years. But with that being said, the veil has been very thin. The moon and emotions have been heightened like crazy. Even if you look at the season right now, we're in the middle of Cancer season. Everyone's in their bag in some type of way. Everyone has this emotional impulse in some type of way, and their emotions are lying in this very particular space, right? And this is brought to you by the moon. So during Cancer season specifically, this is a little gem. During Cancer season specifically, every moon sign counts twice to 3 times as much as it would in any other sign, because the moon sign is going to actually be directly correlating to what the sun is bringing to us. The way that it's coming through, come off the summer solstice, bringing in more light every day. So the light, where there might be more sunlight because it's the beginning of summer, there's going to be more energy from the moon because it's in Cancer season and the moon rules Cancer season. But yeah, that's just a little tidbit side piece. So on to the next. We're going to the moon through the houses, right? So I put these up as kind of marking places as to how the houses work with the moon. I break these down deeper when I do personal readings, but for specific people, I get deeper into it. But just to give like a little quick run through kind of how the houses work when it comes to the moon, right? In the first house, this is like an embodiment of your soul, because the If your moon's in the first house, you're going to kind of be embodying this soul. You're going to be embodying your feelings. You're going to be embodying this emotional stance that you have because it's going to be on your ascendant or very close to your ascendant, bridging in how you feel into your general aura. Second house, it's going to be about finding security for your feelings. If you have them on the second house, you're going to try to find how to secure your feelings, how to even monetize your feelings. Sometimes get your money, securing the bag. Securing the bag in your bag. That is what the second house is. I hope y'all understood that. The third house, right, is going to be communicating your feelings, and the moon in the third is going to be your fine emotional response and receptivity in communicating your feelings with other people and talking to other people about how they feel about things as well, right? Fourth house is going to be like an ancestral origin type of feeling. You're going to be very connected to moon in the fourth, very connected to your ancestors, very connected to your family lineage, connected to whatever bloodline that you might be from. The fourth house also just brings in this sense of finding family, but soul family as well. That's another theme that comes through with the fourth house energy with the moon there. Fifth house. So we're going to be talking about pleasure-oriented feelings. So the moon in the fifth is going to be about emotionally feeling right when there's pleasures around, when there's luxury, when there's art, when there's entertainment around. These are going to be the things that end up, you're going to be ending up wanting around you in order for you to feel your best, right? Sixth house, it's going to be service-related feelings. What I mean by this is that moon in the sixth, you're going to want to find something that you can structure in order to help other people and or provide a service to other people that helps them in their daily lifestyle. That's a big thing when it comes to that. Moon in the seventh, you're going to want to emotionally connect with people about partnerships, about relationships, about romances, etc., etc. Anything that has to do with relating to another person. Moon in the seventh is going to be fixated about how those connections work and how to emotionally respond to those connections. Eighth house, we're talking about very deep-seated feelings in the eighth house. There's a lot of magic behind the moon in the eighth house as well. That only they can't even fully explain to you because there's certain layers beneath that they know, but not going to spill nothing on them. But the moon in the eighth is pretty much just going to be like really able to tap into this like subconscious part of their mind and like live it through, and then those things are going to be bringing transformations for themselves and others. Ninth house is going to be about cerebral thought. So very philosophical. Moon in the ninth house is going to be very philosophical, very about what different cultures do, where certain things line up, different philosophies, etc., etc. These are the things that are coming through with having the moon in the ninth house. Moon in the 10th house is going to be about these authoritative feelings. It's almost like a moon in the 10th is like, what I feel is what I feel, and that's final. Because it has looked at every other not really, I take that back. It's 10th house. The 10th house knows what needs to be so it could be the greatest of. So when the moon in the 10th, you're going to want the greatest, and then that's it. If it's not the greatest, you'll make the greatest yourself because you're like, or you'll make the feeling yourself even, because that's what's going to be coming through with this moon. You're going to have a need to find the greatest of in whatever that you emotionally connect with, right? 11th house, they're going to be about tapping into the authenticity, there we go, of other people and how they feel. Finding how the collective feels, finding how society feels as a whole. Your moon sign is going to be very connected and in tune and intuitive with these type of things. Also, with the 11th house, you're going to find it really easy to connect with people through social media, connect with people through technology. There's going to be a very easy tap in with that energy. So look into that if you haven't. Now, last moon in the house, which would be moon in the 12th house. Moon in the 12th house, I said literally streaming your feelings. And the reason why is because think of like Spotify. You press a thing on Spotify, it plays from the server, it streams the music, it plays whatever music it is. The playlist keeps going on to things that are close to it, et cetera, et cetera. That's very much how the 12th house moon works. in the sense where it's streaming these informations, these things from the universe, from wherever their star origin is, et cetera, et cetera. It streams through in this very like hidden and mysterious, miraculous way almost. And it allows you to be able to find what you need to do as a spirit in a space at all given times. It's hard to explain. If you have a 12th house moon, you understood what I meant. And I hope that has helped you and given you some form of comfort as to those feelings. Now, moving on, let's get into the signs. So, starting off, we're going to start with Moon in Aries. Now, archetypalized all of these moon signs. I'm also going to timestamp them as well. But I put these down because it's once you learn things from an archetype standpoint, you're going to be more able to see where these energies work in people for real, as we are representations of these archetypal energies that we always speak about, and such like that. So the moon in Aries, element, cardinal fire.